Okay, well, Barb, I haven't talked to you since this release came out, a joint release between
Oh
you
yeah,
and
yeah,
President Choi.
yeah.
You have a list on there. How will you implement this list? It's immediate? I mean, is some of it immediate and some of it long term, or what?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more than just that list of activities, that are taking place right now, but some of them are immediate. Like, for instance, the partnership with the Missouri State Highway Patrol, that starts this weekend. They already partner with us on game days, but now they're going to come in on the off game weekends as well for us in the downtown area. Some of the other things, we have our health department is coming down this weekend because we have food trucks that are operating and it can create gatherings and crowds gathering. And so they're going to be coming down to educate both where they're actually supposed to be and checking to make sure that they have permits to be actually licensed there.
What about curfews? Or is that back in? I didn't see that on the list, but
No, so
especially with the food trucks, can you shut them down after a certain time or not?
So, and that's one of the things that the health department is going to be doing is educating on like the hours of operation that they're supposed to be operating and then when they're supposed to move on. When it comes to a thing like the curfew, when you talk to the police department, then they're spending a lot of time and resources kind of rounding up kids, taking them to the police department, calling their parents. One of the things that we talked about is more about partnering, for instance, with those who have been justice involved juveniles. For them, they actually probably should have a curfew for when they're supposed to be back home or in areas where they're not supposed to be. So we're in conversation right now with the juvenile office and others to see how can we make this sure that this is a part of the discussion.
Okay, let's get back to the list. On the top of the list
Yeah.
was increased staffing for both the Columbia Police Department and the University of Missouri Police Departments. A lot of your critics say you don't give enough money to the police. What's your response to that?
So the majority of our general fund, those are the dollars, the sales tax, property tax dollars that we can spend at will, go to public safety. 70% of that is going towards personnel and the majority going to the police department. And so we only assign the resources that we have in front of us as a city council. One of the things I will say is that I'm really proud of our police chief and the Columbia Police Department. Last year alone, they hired 30 new officers. With the starting up of the police academy that was supported by myself and our city council members, we're able to get recruits out faster and into field training and onto the streets to patrol.
Okay, with that said, do you feel safe walking downtown Columbia on a Saturday night?
I'll tell you, Mark, I feel safe when I'm down there at the hours I should be down there. I don't think that anybody should be in downtown Columbia hanging out, especially after the bars close. I don't think it's a safe situation. For me, my family, we're downtown all the time. We live close to downtown, so we ride our bikes down here, going to dinner, going to movies. This is a place where I feel safe when I'm here during when I'm supposed to be here.
And that's the main thing. So that
If
gets
you,
back
yeah,
to my curfew
yeah,
idea,
yeah.
too.
If you look at the hours of when bad incidents happen, it's after the bars close up until like 3 or 4 a.m. And so I encourage people not to be in that area. Now, one of the things, though, that we do have to be conscious over is that, this is different than 10 years ago. We have a lot more housing downtown. And so it's making sure that we're having safe places, those people that the design of their properties are done in a way so that they're safe and they're indoors.
President Choi plans on walking downtown tomorrow night between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. Were you invited? Are you going? And what's your response to his suggestion?
Yeah, I spoke to President Choi on Wednesday, and he did invite the mayor and the city council. We had actually already been in discussions with our police department and city staff about seeing some of these hotspot areas that they were talking about. So we'll continue with that. I won't be participating in this one because it sounds like there's going to be a lot of people walking around downtown, and that to me means it's not as organic of a viewing of what you'll be seeing because people will be seeing this parade of people coming by. I do, though, thank President Choi for raising this area of concern and his advocacy and his bringing his voice to this issue so we can get more community support for it.
President Choi also points fingers at the homeless a lot in his responses to the media. Do you think do you think Columbia needs a stronger loitering ordinance?
So the tricky thing with loitering ordinances is that most of them that cities have tried to do have been then struck down by the courts. A general broad one is a little bit trickier. So we're looking for more specifics about the bad behaviors that we're really talking about, because I think that's what President Choi is really getting to. Because, just seeing a group of people standing around, that's a question. Are they having a meeting? What are they doing? So for us, it's really about what specifics, behaviors are we trying to get to and stop those actions from happening.
Well, let's get specific on panhandling. Do we need a stronger panhandling ordinance in Columbia?
Right. So panhandling is the general one. We've been told it's a First Amendment right, but we are having discussions around when we see people that are panhandling on the medians of high-speed roadways, and that will actually be coming to City Council for an ordinance that will hopefully be stopping that behavior because it's not safe.
And right now, correct me if I'm wrong, the ordinance says no panhandling after sundown, correct?
I don't believe we have do we have a pan?
I think there is something on the books.
I don't know about that one.
Well, we'll have to check.
Yeah.
I never really double checked, but I always heard that Columbia's panhandling ordinance, if we even have one, maybe we don't.
Yeah, I'll look this up too, and I'll send you a message.
Yeah, you can't panhandle after sundown.
Okay.
And I was going to say, is that something? So if you're
I'll
not
ask.
familiar
Yeah.
with, if
Yeah,
you're
no,
not familiar
that's
with it, we'll
first.
just skip that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get back to safety.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about downtown Columbia, downtown Columbia,
Yeah.
downtown Columbia.
Yeah.
Columbia is more than downtown Columbia, right?
It is, and I think that is a concern that I have with this, is that we want to make sure the entire community is safe. We have some areas where we're having, we're having gang violence. Well, it's not called gang violence. What's it called? I'm trying to remember. Juvenile? Oh, I'm trying to remember the words. Like, we have some instances where we know of crime happening in other parts of the area. And I want to make sure that we're not just sending our resources for public safety to just the downtown, because we want to make sure that people are safe in their neighborhoods, in their places of business. And that's 70 square miles of Columbia is what we're looking to protect.
And couldn't the people of Columbia expect more police very soon?
Yeah.
Because I know it's a long process to even train these people.
So we're currently at 5 vacancies on our police department, and we have another applicants coming in. They're doing interviews all the time. I believe that we're going to see a proposal to us on what it would take to really catch up with the growth of Columbia's experience in the coming months from the police department. And then we'll be having a conversation with our community about making sure that we all support an increase in public safety.
Okay. And let's get back to your critics again. They say you don't care about public safety. You're more worried about giving money to mental
mental health
crimes and things like that.
Okay.
What's your response to that?
All I can do is just go back to my actions and the votes that I've taken, right? And I know it's not exciting. I'm not a mayor who has a lot of press conferences about every action that we've taken. I just look at the increase that we've done for police wages. I look at my votes for supporting technology that they say will make us safer and help them solve crimes. I look through the support that we're trying to advocate at a regional and state level for them, for things like the Second Amendment Preservation Act that is going to come up for the legislature again. They'll make them harder to partner with their federal partners to get violent criminals off the streets. And so those advocacy things are the things that I find are performative. Those are the activities I see that are in true support of our police department.
We just had a woman murdered and 2 bystanders shot. What's your message to the people of Columbia after this horrible tragedy, and can you give them any hope of this stuff never happening again?
Okay, well, I have to ask you though. So since the family doesn't really want to keep talking about her.
Oh yeah. The mom was saying, let's not make this a political thing.
I'm trying to think of how to.
Or let me rephrase the question.
Okay, yeah.
We've had a lot of violence in downtown Columbia, violent crime in downtown Columbia. What's your message to the people of Columbia so they don't feel like this is, you're going to have some kind of solution for this?
Yeah. I think, in talking to Police Chief Schluty, just last week we were looking at the numbers. We had not had a shooting in downtown since June 8th. And I think a big reason for that reason is that we've increased, right, our police presence downtown. We've been working on quality of life issues during the day for some of the issues that people have been having downtown. And I think that investment, you were seeing a difference. What happened last week was tragic. But we had police on the scene within 7 minutes. We had somebody who was responding to a verbal altercation with a gun. And there's not a lot I can do about gun violence, except for advocate for stronger gun laws and try to make sure that people who use guns to solve minor incidents are put in jail.
Let me follow up with this. President Choi said we don't need any more gun laws. He says the laws on the book will get the guns out of the hands of criminals. Add more gun laws, you're going to take the guns out of the hands of law-abiding citizens. Do you agree with that?
No?
Why not?
Because the idea, so I'll give you an example. So in the state of Missouri right now, the rules about a minor in possession of firearm are complicated for our officers to understand because they're different than the federal rules. The federal rules don't allow it. In Missouri, my officers are responding if they see a 15-year-old downtown and they have a gun. Do they arrest? What's this gray area they're working in? I would like for our state law to mirror the federal law in this so my officers have clear direction on what is illegal.
So right now, a 15-year-old can possess a firearm in downtown Columbia and not be arrested if they don't fire.
If they're right, exactly. And I think for this, one of the other things that we've been in conversation with is that we have some adult bad actors who are giving firearms to minors so that the minor, because they know minor won't get in as much trouble. And so for me, that is an issue we all need to deal with within our community to make sure that we are not arming young people who are going to then have the rest of their life altered because of that decision.
Mayor Buffaloe, I appreciate your time. I'm out of questions.
Did you want me to talk about the trip?
Yeah, do you want to talk about your trip? I was going to say, let me ask you about,
Yeah.
you recently took a trip this week.
Yeah.
You got some criticism for that, too.
Yep, yeah.
What's your response to all that?
Yeah, so Mark, I recently just got back from visiting Columbia, South Carolina with 75 other business leaders, government leaders. I mean, the University of Missouri police chief was there and the chief financial officer, as well as local landowners, property owners, like the Flat Branch loans. And to me, it's really an opportunity for us as a city to visit a peer city of a similar size with similar issues. And they're working on some of the same programs we are working with to solve things like downtown vitality, homelessness, public safety. And so for me, it was learning from them. They're just a few years ahead of us because they're an older city. And how are they doing and what sort of improvements have they seen?
And for the record, so I make sure I get this right, what city were you in and what conference did you go to?
So this was the Columbia Chamber of Commerce's leadership visit to Columbia, South Carolina.
And are they a sister city?
So, like, not a national sister city, but, they're a rival of ours,
Rival,
SEC.
okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know if we had them as a sister city or not.
No, you don't do that inside the nation.
Okay.
It's outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you say to your critics who say, oh, we have this big shooting, she leaves town?
So I think it's important to remember, as the mayor, I have a mayor pro tem who can do any of the ceremonial activities that would have been needed of the mayor while here. Similarly, the city staff were all here. The city staff were here working and doing the day-to-day work of our city of Columbia. To me, it was 2 days that were worth it to learn best practices that they're seeing in South Carolina and also what they're advocating for at their state level that we can advocate for at our state level.
All right, and thank you for responding to your trip this week.
Yeah.
Now,
I was obviously responding to emails.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now here's your chance if you want to just say anything to the public. I'm out of questions.
Okay.
Is there a statement you'd like to make?
I would just say that, I know the role of the mayor gets a lot of attention, right? Especially in our council manager form of government. There's confusion over what the mayor can and can't do. I'm proud to show up to as much as I can for our community and to advocate for the voices I hear from when I go door to door or even at events to advocate for them.
Well said.
All
Mayor,
right.
thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mark.